but it's not.
Thanks,
Start at
Jesse.
9, isn't it?
It's not gonna be much stuff. Okay. So it's one of the
You know where I live, right?
And I will start the meeting with the pledge to the flag.
We're gonna put snow down here, up there, I don't say.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States.
Of America,
and
to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and
Justice for all.
like for us to be what I'm not
I know.
saying.
There's some sort of,
I'm the only one saying under God. I feel like somebody's gotta say it.
so welcome everybody to the December 4th town board meeting, the agenda meeting. And Phoenix has joined us here tonight to see how local government works. This is the first of our 2 meetings of the month. This is the agenda setting meeting. And sometimes we do some other things which we have on the agenda tonight, but that's, and then the business meeting will be the second meeting in 2 weeks, where among other things, we pay town bill. But we're also going to do that tonight because of circumstances. So with that, I will offer opportunity for privilege of the floor. If anybody wishes to speak to the board, either here at the town hall or in Zoom land, raise your real or Zoom hand. We have 2 attendees remotely. I don't see any hands.
Yeah, no hands on Zoom.
Great, thank you. So we will proceed to the meeting. The one thing I wanted to add tonight is to approve payment for 5 bills for permitting by Aerosmith for the broadband project that are overdue. So I brought vouchers for those, and I'll offer a resolution to pay those bills later. Yeah, so I'll look at it first.
Is this right view? I mean, usually we can see it.
I don't know what's going on. I agree that the view is weird.
Oh, I see. We're up there.
We're up there. Let's see if I can change it.
Try gallery
Try gallery.
there.
That's better.
Yeah,
But it used to be speaker, if I was speaking, then it would
Right.
just feature us, so.
yeah.
A lot of things have changed, so this, Zoom, but anyway, this is better, so thank you.
Okay.
Let's see, so. Without further ado, I will move to the committee reports. And ask if anybody has reports.
I'll just tell everyone that the review board met last night. And worked on. There was a seeker public hearing for the solar project. It went smoothly. There's also a secret public hearing for a development or a lot split on Thomas Road, but without hitch. They considered 2 other, they're looking at 2 other minor developments. And with Bob, the new code officer, everything's promising to move smoothly. He's offered to organize all of their materials for their meetings. Because a couple of the board members were a little bit discontent at being worried about the amount of work the review board is gonna have to do because of zoning, but
Is
Bob
this,
has done this in Portland for years, so he's just totally nonplussed about it. It's just offering to come and organize the review board meetings, all this stuff.
is this for those developments that the there's gonna be a lot of work, or they feel?
Well, they just feel there's gonna be, because of developments, there's gonna be more material on the table. Frankly, last night they considered 4 projects. The big seeker for the solar project. And
They started that, yeah.
and they were done under 2 hours, so I thought it was fine. And I think that they're just worried about having to do too much paperwork. It's my sense.
Yeah, I think the other thing is that, you know, we're sort of figuring out how to work things. With the review board, they've been quiescent for 3 years.
Yeah.
While we've had a moratorium in place and been working on local laws, so I think what we're figuring out now is just as applicable back then, 3 or 4 years ago, as it is now, and we're just working out our process to have good lines of communication between the code office, my office, Jesse's office, and the review board. So I think, just so everybody understands, and we're, you know, working on, we want to make sure that one thing that happens is materials come in sequentially in the code office, different things that are required for a project, and if those don't come in a package, it creates confusion. So we want to make sure that, and the way our local laws are written is the zoning officer has the responsibility of accepting or receiving, approving, and pulling that stuff together, and then passing it on to the review board. So yeah, I agree. I think it seems like really good.
Were you also at the meeting?
Yeah. If I was steering Zoom.
Through turbulent waters.
Yeah.
No, and it looks like we're gonna have organized processes. You know, there's a little bit of, because all of these laws are new, there's always gonna be a little bit of stumbling and getting accustomed to things, and also having to make new decisions. So we have to make decisions that they weren't accustomed to. But I think, Mark, I think you're right, because they haven't met for 3 years, so it's like starting from scratch, even for those who had already done it. It's my report.
Thanks, Tim.
I don't have a report, but I have a couple of questions about things I brought up last time meeting. Do you know, did they order the doorbell thing?
I believe that Belk did do that. Yeah,
Being installed. And
I haven't seen it. I haven't. I'm not aware. I can ask Belk if it arrived or not. Let's see. That it?
That was it.
I was wondering, I saw your information in reply to the court clerk.
Right.
And you know, let her know that we have the security cameras and we want to provide those. Any reply on that? Okay.
That's why I was curious.
So just for clarification, so she can access that from her computer. So Jesse's given her that information. Send it to her again, so she can do that. But, you know, we could talk to the IT guy about, I'm not quite sure what, I think it needs an AV connector for the monitor, so I don't know if that would, how we would do that, so.
Yeah, I didn't copy everybody on this. I encouraged her to, get the monitor installed in addition to the doorbell thing for additional security, but I didn't get a reply on that. So I think we're providing them with as much security as seems reasonable. They can see who's out there, the door could be locked.
Yes. Right. Thank you. Kate or Jonathan? Jonathan, you sent an email today about something. Or Kate,
You want to go first, Kate? You're on mute.
you're super, super quiet.
I'm never quiet. So yeah, so the Safe Streets for All, they're getting ready to have two more public meetings next week, and one is on Zoom. And I'll get the information on that in an email tomorrow. Sorry, I've been busy this afternoon. And it's kind of a county-wide plan, and they have identified places in towns that have had high crash data as priority places. And I'm still trying to figure out the steps beyond the priority places. But the priority places in Caroline right now are on 76 Road between Yapel and Smith. And then the other place is at Valley Road and Lounsbury Bridge intersection. So those are the two that are being identified as problem areas. And the Lounsbury Road, the Lounsbury Bridge and Valley Road intersections were also identified by Bobby as a problem. So that's right now where that is. And I'm going to be meeting with Fernando because I've gotten a little confused about where this report's going. So that's news to come. My next report.
Hey, Kate, I would just, unless this is, unless this is off base, but you might want to follow up with them to see what data they used to come up with 76 Road between Yapel and Smith. Pretty familiar.
They used crash data with mortality rates to identify the places.
I guess what I'm saying is you might want to look at the particulars on that to see if there's something like, is this long-term or is there an extraordinary event that created a data? I mean, I'm only saying this because
yeah,
an extraordinarily safe stretch of road to me that I travel all the time.
okay, that's good to know. I honestly, I'm not sure how exact they are. What would you recommend, or if you could get me a recommendation which you feel is not as safe on that road?
I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying.
Because
Really,
it is a
really
frustration. They're only looking at like, did somebody die? Right.
Right.
And so
Crazy.
it's frustrating to say the least. And I had quite a conversation with them about that.
if they're gonna develop a grant to spend money on a roadway, I really would dive in on that because just from I was pretty familiar with it. It's really a head scratcher for me, but it could be because maybe people travel at a high rate of speed there, so when something bad happens, it's pretty bad. I don't know.
I think that's it with the rural areas, is the high speed is the main problem. And I'm frustrated because I don't think the planners really understand the town and
yeah, I don't know. I mean,
and
the
the
particulars would
communities
just,
here. So that's what I want
Yeah.
to talk to Fernando about.
And
All
then
the towns, just so you know, all the municipalities that are cooperating in this have okayed their sites. I can get you a map tomorrow. I was going to today again. I couldn't do it from the hospital. And Cayuga Heights is the only one that has not responded and said okay, and us to say okay. So we've got some leverage here. So
What's weird is we've had communities such as people on Coddington Road complaining to us about the unsafe roads, and
right.
we know the
Know where it is. So if
the feeder roads that are dangerous. And none
I'm
of them are on
surprised
that.
that intersection between Creamery and the Center Chapel there, I've seen a couple of accidents there, but.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
they're
they did identify a couple places on 79, but they are already identified by the state and the state will be working on them. So,
Chapel, it's right near that horse farm.
right.
The
But
one thing that
if you can get me some ideas, that would be,
I just want to, I'm just thinking about the Yaple Road to Smith Road stretch. There
Mhm.
is, there's a peak, basically. It's not a
Okay.
sharp, when you're going up one side or the other, you don't see traffic on the other side until you reach that.
Right.
I'm wondering if that's a problem spot there, I don't know. But
I don't know if there was a really bad accident there decades ago or something that they're taking into consideration. I could find out. I can find out. I just
Okay.
can't write with my left hand. So, okay.
By the way, in this regard, I'm not sure if Jesse forwarded this to everybody. But the state finally did give all the
Oh, yeah,
paperwork
I saw that.
for the Coddington Road. Although they did not respond to my request to extend it all the way to the end of the town line, but that's, I guess, better than nothing, but that's happened.
Yeah.
So hopefully Bobby will
Yeah.
take action on that.
We should follow up with him and ask him about it, yeah,
Good.
because he was waiting for the second
Yeah.
letter, so that's it.
Tim, did you write this up to send to, the town board, the Association of Town Boards as one of the reasons the towns need to have responsibility over the speed limit? Because we were trying to do a push on that.
No,
Yeah, we haven't done that yet, we should do that.
We thought we talked about this maybe being a good example.
Yeah. I'll put that down. It's on my list anyway, but yeah.
Kate, I have a question about the work they're doing with the safe streets or whatever
Right.
roads. Do you have any sense about remedies they're gonna use to, assuming there's one or two or three in town, what's the next step in terms of remedying the situations in those places, do you know?
I don't know what the final thing is going to be. It is not widening the roads. It is not increasing sight lines. It is, I think, more rumble strips, traffic calming, things like this. And I mean, I'm having problems with the report, and that's why I want to meet with Fernando, because, the report talks about putting in roundabouts and things like this that I don't see fitting into Caroline well.
Right.
So the response of one of the planners to me when I was talked about my concerns about pedestrians was, well, we'll have different rules for urban areas. And I had to say, we're not an urban area. And he said, are you sure? And I was like, yeah, I think so. So he defined urban area and he's found out that yes, Ithaca is the only urban area. Brooksondale is not. So that's kind of why I want to reach out to Fernando to get, because I'm not really happy with the details coming out of this. So, yeah.
It really makes me wonder if there's a disconnect or whatever.
I think there must be. I did ask if in their model they took into consideration like density of housing, right? And as far as I can see, they've looked at crash data.
Yeah.
And not much else, and not community, and not the input that the community's been put in. And so I'm concerned about that. I know Fernando's also concerned about that. And a couple other people I've talked to. So right now it's a work in progress. This planner does want me to respond before Friday. Moving the so she moved the first place that they had identified, which was Lounsbury and 79, when I pointed out that the state was already looking at that section. to Lounsbury and Valley. She was very responsive on that. And so I could ask her to move the 76 road to a different section. My guess is there was probably a bad crash there once and people died, and that's why it's popped up. And they haven't done much else. I mean, I could ask her to shift it to Coddington.
I would just ask her, I think the first step would be to find out why, before, because maybe there's a good reason that we don't know about.
Okay. I can do that.
And sorry, I don't know the history of this committee or this group, but is it a Tompkins County led effort, or is it like a Cornell student
No,
effort?
So the Safe Streets for All grant came out, gosh, 2 years ago. And I tried to apply for the grant and I really couldn't figure out how to get the data to match up that the federal government wanted. So I approached Fernando Darragon, who's in charge of the municipal planning organization for the area, the Ithaca Tompkins County Transportation Council. And he asked around and a whole bunch of towns were interested in applying for money. And the money was to make a plan for Safe Streets for All that includes traffic calming, includes pedestrian ways, includes all these different things. So that's what I was expecting. And so the city of Ithaca took the lead and wrote the grant and hired this group of planners. And they've been gathering data and working through their models and meeting with us. And I'd expected a different outcome. I did ask, there was a lot of outreach. They had an interactive map where people could go on and say where they were concerned. And I didn't really see how that was being used in the result that came out this week. So I'm trying to follow that up.
And how many, is it all the towns around the city of Ithaca, or is it just?
I think it was 11 other municipalities.
And only one city, which is Ithaca?
That is correct. That is considered urban by the standards of the grant, right? So we got the grant to hire planners, and then they are writing a plan that will allow us to then apply because they're in the parameters that the federal government needs. Then we could apply for money to address different projects in the town. That was the concept behind it.
So we could technically say they do some improvements and the plan comes out and the grant's available. Could the town still do what they want?
Yes.
Despite the plan says, or do you have to do what the plan says? We
do not have to do what the plan says, and we could take bits and pieces out. If there's no commitment here, the idea was to get projects that had the right parameters so we could access federal money.
And the state is the grant holder, or the city of Ithaca is the grant holder?
The city of Ithaca took the lead for the municipalities.
I'm just thinking in terms of
and so I believe they're handling the money aspect of this.
That's too bad.
But then can I clarify something or ask?
Okay.
Or ask a question.
Mm-hmm.
You, Kate, are talking about the planning grant that's in progress now.
That's correct.
The lead on that is the city of Ithaca. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So they put the plan out and they, develop plans or, for different sites, or so they do Yapel Road and 76 Road. Then the town would apply for a grant for that. Is that the idea?
That was the idea. It may be that the county planning picks that up and not the city of Ithaca. I think it's the city though. I'd have to go look at my notes. But yeah, that was the idea, that this would come out with.
Okay.
As far as I know, that those planning departments aren't very staffed well. I mean, they're not very don't seem like they have the overhead to be able to,
For different count, for like us.
12 towns apply, I mean, that's a lot of work.
Well, I guess I'm asking, would each town apply separately? Or is this like, there an idea for some massive?
I think the idea was that each town could apply separately, or they could work in tandem, say if, I mean, a big site is on Route 79 west of Ithaca. That's a big priority site. With crash data available there. There's a number of them in Ithaca. In the city of Ithaca and the town of Ithaca. I don't know if they could apply for the grant together. I'd have to read the federal grant guidelines on that. But I know we can do it separately because that was what we had talked about and had expected to do.
Thank you for doing all that.
Yeah, great.
Sure. And I'll follow up on this and get back to you guys.
Well, it sounds like it's really important to provide feedback to this planner
Mhm.
team.
Okay.
So, thank you for doing that. I think that's important. So,
Okay. So I'll try to talk to Fernando and I'll definitely talk to Kaylee tomorrow. Okay. Sounds good. Yeah.
thanks, Kate.
Just something quick for the farm,
Sure.
for the ag committee.
Mhm.
If you don't know yet, we have our next potluck, farmer potluck, the 12th, December 12th at 6 p.m. This one, the last one was at the BCC. This one's going to be at Scotland Yard. And so we'll be meeting there to 80 or 90% of it will be just hanging out and chatting, eating food. And then about 20 minutes we're going to save for like, what are people interested in doing in regards to the plan in the town, and just letting people popcorn out, how they can help or what they want to see, or we had a great discussion at the last meeting, a couple great discussions, but one of them came out, this agrovoltaic conversation came out of that, and hence some of the emails. The most recent one I sent from you were asking about from my conversation with Guillermo from the CC Tompkins, and he's excited to come. Probably start by meeting with the energy committee. If they're interested in having him come and talk about his ideas, his thoughts.
Okay.
With what energy committee then?
Well,
Towns.
I think it's
Energy.
EIC.
Yeah.
Energy Dominic Carolyn.
Mhm.
I was wondering about the planning board as might be a good.
Sure, I'm just wondering if the Energy Independent Caroline might be a first stab at like folks that have already been thinking about energy in the town. And then just seeing what people want to learn about, and then bringing something more cohesive to the planning board. That was just really a brief conversation we had about it, but
Okay.
whatever people think makes more sense. It seems to me that Guillermo is not an expert necessarily. He has a lot of information and a lot of connections and network.
Yeah.
But he's still learning himself, and that I think he has some good thoughts that I learned about things I didn't know about in terms of thinking about this. So, yeah.
Great.
And if there's others that we know of that we want to include in that conversation.
Right. I mean, it could just be, like the ag committee is of interest to that group too, so. We could have, a special event.
The reason it could be helpful to the, sorry, I taught today. I think the reason it could be interesting to the planning board is because they wrote the solar law. And they would be the unit that then would revise it accordingly. If we wanted to inscribe something about agrivoltaics in the law.
No, totally.
So that would actually be a quicker mechanism than going to Energy Independent Caroline, then going to the planning board, then, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm just wondering where the venues are for having more generalized conversations
Right.
about it with
Yeah, this wouldn't be a generalized.
No.
conversation. Yeah.
That's why I'm thinking like, it seems like it's later on or
Right.
a second step or,
Yeah, I sent Bill's comments to everybody, did that? About the,
yes,
okay.
thank you for that.
I have a question about the egg plant.
Sure.
So has it, are we gonna know if they make the changes that we suggested?
Yeah, but just as far as I know, it haven't been finalized yet.
So the final plan hasn't been put up, okay,
No, but it's gonna be close to what we was presented to us in the last meeting. And then if whoever sent updates or suggestions, I saw yours, thank you. Those should get corrected and then it'll be brought back to this body, I think, or at least submitted
okay.
as we're ready to, a resolution to vote.
Yeah,
on it.
so Monica, asked, I actually found this email, so she sent me, like yesterday, just let you know, we're not counting on you voting on the plan on Wednesday tonight. And I was like, yeah, that's right, that's not what we were thinking. But then I found a previous email that said, that I found today that said, oh, we can go one of two ways. We could vote on the plan with the understanding that we will be forwarding you the revised plan soon, or we can wait. So I just said, yeah. And then Erica asked me about it today, so I just said, yeah, we decided to wait. That just seemed to make sense, and let us know.
I don't feel comfortable voting on it unless they change that stuff about zoning. I think that stuff's incorrect.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
I'm not willing to vote for it unless they change it.
Sounds
Think about it.
important.
Yeah.
It's that those are easy changes. So
Yeah.
I think as long as we're not adding, if there's one paragraph, we're not adding three,
Right,
4,
right.
5 paragraphs. That's
So as far as I'm concerned, they can take that whole thing out because I think it's
Yeah.
incorrect and it's not helpful plan either, have that information. But I'm just saying, I want to see the final plan before I vote on it for
right,
myself.
right.
personally.
Monica did say that she thought that comments that were received would be included as an appendix. So I don't know what that means as far as
That's.
comments would be
Is
changed.
that right? I wouldn't vote in favor of that.
Okay, so I will
That's
see.
just
I
like
will,
under the purpose page, there was this zoning thing, it had nothing to do with purpose, I want that out.
and you put that in your comment, right?
I sent it to her,
Okay, good.
but
I feel pretty strongly
stashing all
about
that
this.
stuff in the
Okay.
appendix.
Yeah.
I mean, it's obvious that the information is in there was from a previous
Right,
draft,
so it
that's
should be taken
incorrect.
out,
Right,
taken out or corrected, but I wouldn't feel comfortable supporting it unless that's done.
It is important to have the information be correct.
Yes.
So we're
So,
saying that it was founded 1 year later than it was founded for different contexts. It just needed to be corrected.
Right. So maybe you could pass that on, that we wouldn't feel comfortable voting for it unless those things are corrected. And not as an appendix.
yeah, I'm happy to take that since Monica emailed me about it. So I'll just reply and say we had a discussion and I just want to let you know, here's what the discussion.
Yeah.
Everybody comfortable with that?
Yeah, I mean, it seems to me like the comments, at least your comments I saw, were very clear that it needed to be changed, and if
Yeah.
if she says no, I don't understand why it would be a no to me.
Right. I mean, what you said makes sense, like, we don't know, want an extra page about something that wasn't in there or something like that. So,
Yeah, she's worried about layout costs.
And also the time of the person that's
Right.
doing it pro bono
Well, I
or
mean,
whatever.
a way to avoid that would be.
Just take it out.
Or to let us see the draft before they put it in the layout.
Yeah.
But since they didn't go that route, then yeah, they can take it out as far as I'm concerned.
Very good. Well, that's easy. I'll pull that up. Good. Great. So yeah, I mean, I guess I'm going back to your thought about Guillermo.
Yeah.
An informational presentation, maybe it just makes sense to schedule a special meeting and invite the town committees that would be of interest. I think that might be, see if everyone will be up for that, like, could be 7 o'clock on a weekend night, just do it by Zoom hybrid here at the town hall.
Just, you know him, so you
Yeah.
check with him. I don't know him well enough to know if he's comfortable with a more formal presentation.
Oh, okay, I think he would be, but I'll ask him.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know, but.
So he was
that
thinking
would-
about attending a committee meeting and providing.
That's, I mean, we talked like for 2 minutes,
Yeah, okay.
so, yeah. But I did mention it to Don briefly, and he said that direction in terms of changing any law stuff around the solar stuff, there should be committees and conversations involved.
I mean, I don't know really anything except what I read in the paper a couple times about them, but I think they're exciting, but I do understand that there's that, you know, like Annakella's got money for a agrivoltaics research unit or something like that at Cornell. So the information, the knowledge base may be changing quickly. I don't know, maybe Guillermo.
Oh, it
knows
is.
about this.
It is. I mean, I applied, I think I mentioned this last
Oh, you
meeting.
did?
I applied for agrivoltaics grant through NYSERDA that I'll find out in January if we get for the acre solar that we have, that Don and Rita have. Well, it's not theirs, but they're leasing that acre for Vector Mechanics. That's what that solar field is over there behind our house.
So you would use that field as is in some way? Or-
Yeah, I would farm between the solar panels.
Oh, okay.
And well, this grant, if you hadn't seen it, it's really interesting. It's mostly for adjusting, either planning or adjusting solar fields to be more appropriate for agriculture. So like raising the posts
Exactly.
taller for tractors, or
Yep.
you know, making them wider to be able to get more crops between, or I don't know all the various reasons why they're supporting this grant. But some are for what would you do in a solar space where there's already panels.
Yeah.
And so that's the part that we're applying for, is
I see.
because it's already built. And Guillermo told me last night that we're probably the only ones in all the ones that we're applying for.
Like that?
That we already have panels in the ground, and we want to adapt to the panels.
Yeah.
Which I think is most solar fields are gonna be like that, it's already built.
But that's exactly why I asked, because, yeah, I like they recommend the panels be higher spacing to allow for machinery and all this stuff, so. Interesting. So you're gonna use the trowel and. You know,
Well, no, the biggest part of the budget for the grant was actually a human powered tractor, like a BCS. Rather than a riding tractor, which is very dangerous, like a 45 horsepower is what I have. To drive between them,
Mhm.
it's not safe. So if you have a human powered bed forming, you know, a tiller. It's a lot more appropriate for that close spacing.
It's a human powered.
Well, you know, like
Is that
so
like a
ride
hoe?
behind.
It's a ride behind or a walk behind?
Well, I mean, a walk behind, like a,
Oh, it's-
well, you can actually put a little
Yeah.
wheelie seat on it and ride behind it too, but
Oh, okay.
uh,
It does have an engine and stuff.
yeah.
Okay.
But you're pushing.
Not literally like human powered, human scaled is what I meant to
It
say.
has a human with their teeth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if the grant goes through, that's a pretty awesome investment that they'd be doing.
It was discussed last night in the planning committee with the solar field people. They were actually saying that you do this elsewhere. They were also saying that out west, some of their fields, there has been agricultural development underneath them. But because of the sun, basically what happens is the shields provide shade
Which is good.
for growth.
Yeah.
But they basically said out here, I got the impression that their main approach is sheep grazing.
That's what they said. That's why I made my comment about encouraging crop production
Yeah.
instead for
Yeah.
humans. So, but I think that's important.
That's what mine will be.
Yeah.
I'm doing raised beds, and it'll be first year is garlic. Second year is nursery stock that will be dug and shipped. And the final one will be elderberry
Hmm.
for whatever, wine or medicine
Mhm.
but that's one of the more appropriate plants for that site. They're short. And they're adaptable, easily adaptable for enterprises and low maintenance, low disease pressure. Easy to remove if you needed to take them out, that kind of stuff. So,
Elderberries.
yeah,
Yeah.
but they wanted to show profit in the grant, and so I had to have high profit margin crops. Like garlic is really, if you can get to grow and you have market, it's really high end.
Saffron, grow saffron.
Saffron, unfortunately, the vols don't let me do that.
Cannabis.
And cannabis is another one, totally, I just don't have the license,
Oh,
otherwise I would. It's very expensive, I don't know if you looked into it,
no,
but it's a high bar
okay,
that I'm not willing to go.
interesting.
Plus, I'm not really an advocate for drug use personally.
Mhm. Yeah.
Support whatever you wanna do,
Mhm.
it's your thing, but
I hear you. I'm in the same boat. Okay, yeah.
anyway, I digress.
No, very interesting. So we'll expect updates on that. And yeah, I think you would be a good host for this topic.
Well, it's gonna be a demonstration site. So if it goes through, people will be coming to our farm to look to see how you do it.
How it works.
And it's really great. It's one of the closest solar fields to downtown.
Yeah.
So we're very accessible. And Cornell would be involved too, actually. They would do some data collection,
Really,
So it's just 1 acre?
1 acre.
it's pretty small. Really. I
Yeah.
mean, it's not.
So I have a 5 acre field. Can I do that on my 5 acre field?
You mean putting solar panels in?
For,
But you can build them the right way.
Well,
Agrivoltaic.
the problem I've been learning is the accessibility for the electric. Do you have 3-phase on your street is the
Yeah.
first step. If your wires, they have three wires running on the telephone poles.
Yeah.
That's the first step. And if you don't have that, it's not gonna happen in soon. But if you do, you might have a chance. It's just capacity is another one, is like, if there's too much capacity already on the line,
Mhm.
then you can't add more capacity. All these things.
so,
76 road has 3-phase. So.
We were gonna do it and they wanted us to cut down 15 to 20 trees. I said, no.
I got no trees in that, except around the edges, but I hadn't thought about it before. I'll talk to Mike. Very good.
Great, very cool.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, are there any other committee reports? We all done there?
Planning board's not meeting until next week, so I don't have anything new.
Okay.
I don't have anything new from what I
Yeah.
said last time.
And final, feeling like I should have, because did Bill send that to all of us?
I think he sent it to everybody, didn't he? The thing about the entertainment, adult entertainment.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Oh, really?
I didn't get it.
Sent it
Okay.
To at least me, so
I got
we
it, too.
should, he's looking for direction
Yeah.
on that,
Yeah,
and
oh, I really thought he would send it to me, so we should send it to everybody,
yeah. Yeah. I'll forward that,
okay,
um,
for direction on where they should go.
yeah,
And I kind of mentioned that last time slightly, but he fleshes it out a lot more, like about doing nothing or doing, changing the zoning law so they could be allowed in different districts and, all that stuff. So he kind of summarizes that in a
yeah,
email.
so if I can remember, the current situation, as I understand it, I don't think I'm overstating it, but basically, I think we've basically outlawed adult use because it's restricted to the focus commercial. And the setback distances are prohibited for that space.
Seems okay to me.
So it's,
But not to Guy.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
other attorneys.
yeah, it violates, which amendment is it, is it first? Yeah, anyway, You know what I was gonna say there. I kind of mentioned this last time. But I think it'd be simple if we just forwarded the email because they kind of summarize it.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Because you could do nothing.
I just hate not to make a decision until after their
Oh.
meeting, which is next week.
Okay,
So maybe we could, I mean, it doesn't have to
Do
be,
you have his email on here? Do you have it now?
on your,
I could pull it out.
Is it long?
I don't think it's too long.
Maybe you could
I
just-
thought last time we had a conversation about just reducing, if it was 1,000 feet, reducing to 500 feet, and then that would be enough.
Yeah,
well, that's one option. So
Okay.
what, that's right. And another part of this, because we had this discussion last time too, is that. And they have to change it to it, so it's adult entertainment, not adult use.
Right.
Right, I think right now it's referred to as adult use, but that could include cannabis and. But they're talking about, the law that we're talking about is just adult entertainment. Which would be like a strip club.
That's not a biggie.
So are you adding in a new
No, I think we.
language, or you,
Just be more specific about what it's geared to.
because we also have adult use that needs to stay in there.
I don't
in
think
the
we
law.
call it adult use.
No, that's different.
That's different.
Well, I thought you just said it was adult
I think the law,
entertainment
I think
versus adult
the,
use.
well, I think we refer to the law as as adult use, but really what it is adult entertainment.
We still need adult use in
I
there,
don't think so. Why?
no,
Because we have separate things for cannabis and separate things.
for alcohol,
I don't know. if
so
we-
they'll each have their own thing.
Well, the zoning law has separate categories for alcohol and for cannabis.
Are there other adult uses other than that entertainment, alcohol and cannabis?
But anyway, I think our current adult use law really refers to adult
Okay.
entertainment, so they should say that rather than.
Okay. I'm just curious if there
Keep
is
having
a
these
fourth
discussions, but
category that we need to be aware of.
have to have, yeah.
Anyways.
Well, here's
yeah.
what I think. I think rather than, you know, like, this isn't like, I think we can decide this by email and let Bill know.
Yeah.
So, I'll share it after the meeting and we can have an email conversation and get that to Michelle before the meeting.
I think it's a good idea.
And forward it to Bill.
Yes,
I mean, overall, I would prefer tweaking that law rather than changing the zoning law.
oh, well, I mean, one option is to not do anything and wait and see if there's a challenge.
I mean, I
That was
would,
one of them.
I would prefer that direction, honestly.
Because there isn't much call for it,
No,
and there may never be call for it.
and it actually puts a little bit of a roadblock in the way. Someone actually has to challenge it, which costs money and time.
Yeah.
So it might actually hamper the opportunity, which to me is a good measure. Because it just doesn't seem like something that is useful.
Yeah,
Maybe
so-
for a handful of people, but is that useful for our town for a handful of people? I don't know.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
I'll have to look at the comprehensive plan.
Yeah. But I think maybe so I think the options were do nothing, wait for a challenge.
Yes,
Change the distances or change these districts.
change the zoning districts.
That you don't wanna do, no.
And the thing is, in his email, he does give good
Reasons.
reasons.
Okay.
So I think it's worth seeing the email,
Okay.
and I just
But
thought he
I
had
think
said it.
I think you captured it about
Yep.
right
Yeah.
too, so. Good, so I think probably by, you know, I'm certainly not gonna make, this is gonna be a major thing, so probably by the end of the week, we can get something to Bill that we all agree on.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's good to have a short conversation about it, so. See where we're at, so. I sort of feel the same way, it's just almost like curiosity. It's like,
You
okay.
know, with the internet. and
We have to comply with the legalities, so how do we do this?
Yeah.
Okay, very good, thank you. Before I forget, I'm gonna offer a resolution to pay the 5 invoices from Aerosmith for permitting for the broadband project. That's my resolution.
Second,
Seconded by Tim. Any further discussion?
question.
Yeah.
Just to clarify, I'm assuming this eventually will get paid back by the grant, or is this outside the scope of that?
Actually, these won't. These will get paid either by our Tompkins County ARPA funds or by our own ARPA funds. that's where we are now. That's our local share. And then once we exceed that, there'll be a town cash share of about, I think it's $48,000. And then all the rest of it will be the grant.
All right. Just trying to get a sense about.
Yep.
This is gonna be ongoing for what, a year or two? Understanding this
2+
stuff, yeah, okay.
2 years and 27 days.
Mark, excuse me. Are you going to read the totals of those invoices to be included in the minutes, or is it just a resolution that you're paying 5 invoices?
I will read the totals. Would you like a total, or could I just read the 5 amounts?
Yep, go ahead and read the 5 amounts. That's fine.
Thank you for that. So that's invoices of $5,499.90. $2,800.00. $2,800.00, $500, and $6,945.39.
Great, thank you.
Thank you for that. So these are for permitting on County Road 115. This is and County Road 113, County Road 114, County Road 113, and County Road 164. Just as a point of information. All right, any other questions or feedback? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? That's unanimous. Thank you. And so with that, I will offer the town to offer resolution making seeker determinations and declaring intent to be lead agency for proposed Town of Caroline broadband project. So this is declaring our intent to be the lead agency for environmental review of the intending or ongoing broadband project. This is required for as a preliminary step to obtaining our bonding for the project. I don't, unless anybody objects, I don't think there's a reason to read the whole resolution. So actually maybe, yeah, I'll read this. Yeah, I will read it. Whereas the town of Caroline proposes to undertake entering into various governmental grant agreements, intermunicipal agreements with the town of Dryden, and to finance through serial bonds and construct a municipal internet access network, the broadband project. And such broadband project further envisions the purchase of bandwidth from utility and internet providers, purchasing and managing equipment, networks, fiber optic cabling, optical splitters, and various system parts, tools, and equipment to create such network, including a need to install underground and aerial cable and facilities, together with the new placement of poles and other work in highway rights of way and upon private lands by obtained easements or installation licenses. And as a result thereof, the town must undertake to review the environmental and potential environmental impacts of such actions. And whereas the town board is best situated to be lead agency, given its role as the principal permitting, construction, installation, and funding authority, and further, as the town board is the best situated to evaluate seeker impacts respecting the town, its unique environment, and the fiscal and social impacts the project may produce, and whereas this project has been classified as a type 1 action under 6 NYCRR 617.4, and the town board desires to undertake lead agency status for a coordinated type 1 review, and accordingly it is hereby resolved and determined that the town board declares its intent to be lead agency and thus will distribute relevant project information, descriptions, and materials, the full environmental assessment form part 1, and a notice of intent to all other involved agency, as well as notice of this action to any identified or hereafter designated interested agencies. And it is further resolved, determined, and directed as follows. This action is classified as a type 1 action for coordinated review. The involved seeker agencies are determined to be the Office of Parks, Recreation, and Historic Preservation, the New York Historic Preservation Office, the Tompkins County Highway Department, the New York State Department of Transportation, the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, the New York State Department of Ag and Markets, the New York State Natural Heritage Program, the New York State Broadband Program Office, New York Empire State Development, the New York State Department of Public Service, the Town of Dryden, the Town of Caroline Review Board, the Town of Caroline Highway Department, U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, U.S. Environmental Protection Agency. The interested agencies are determined to be Tompkins County Department of Planning and Sustainability, Town of Ithaca, Town of Danby, Town of Hartford, Town of Berkshire, Town of Candor, and Tioga County. The town supervisor be and hereby is directed and authorized to prepare a seeker notice of intent and promptly deliver the same together with all materials as noted above to all all involved agencies, and to deliver a copy of this resolution to all interested agencies. And that is followed by the notice of intent letter that describes that I will be sending. And do I have a second for that? Seconded by Michelle. Do I have questions?
I have some quick, just to understand, as I am new
Mhm.
to understand this project in general. The interested agencies include places outside of Dryden and the town of Caroline because they're bordering towns?
Yes.
That's pretty much just it.
Yeah, that's it.
They're not materially involved in any way.
Correct. That's a good question. Yeah.
And the other ones are also because they're tangentially involved in some way, the involved agencies.
It's because for environmental review, they could claim to have expertise or, it could affect them. So, so maybe if I read the start of the notice of intent, this notice is issued pursuant to the environmental laws that I cited above, 617.6 of the implementing regulations of the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act. The town board of Town of Caroline has determined that it should be lead agency for the required environmental review of the proposed action described below. And then it describes, so please take notice, reading further on, that this determination subject to the agreement or concurrence of the agencies involved shall become effective 30 calendar days from the date of delivery hereof. If the agencies involved cannot agree upon the designation of a lead agency, then in such event, the commissioner of the Department of Environmental Conservation shall determine the lead agency pursuant to the environmental conservation law. So this is a formality to establish the town, us, as the lead agency.
I get that, yeah.
But it's giving other agencies, these involved agencies, the opportunity to say, no, I should be involved. I should be lead agency.
And then just one that I'm just pulling out, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, is that because there might be an endangered species where you're gonna put a pole,
Maybe, yeah.
for example?
Yeah, exactly.
All right,
Something like that.
makes sense.
I was curious about the Historic Preservation Office.
Same thing, like maybe you're gonna dig where there's Native American burial ground or something like that. or maybe, yeah, even a historic structure might be affected.
Okay, makes sense.
So basically, we'll put out these notices to all these agencies, and then they'll have 30 days to respond, and then we are affected, then we're lead agency. I expect that'll be fine. Yeah. Great, anything else? So without further ado, I will call for a vote. So all in favor, say aye. Put your hand. Aye.
I,
Opposed? And that's unanimous. Thank you. All right, so that gives us some paperwork to do. It's a mailing. Oh, boy. So with that, I will ask if anyone has comments on the minutes of November 20th. Are they approved? Great. Kate, everything good?
yeah, good.
Okay. The minutes of November 20th are hereby approved. And so now we set the table for the next meeting. I have a little bit of a laundry list here. So I do expect, I certainly hope the ag plan will be in our hands by then. So adoption of the ag plan is my hope. So I have that on the list. From the discussions at this week's Connect All meeting, our expectation is to have the grant disbursement agreement, which includes the guarantee agreement from the town of Caroline, as well as the intermunicipal agreement ready for approval by the respective town boards for Caroline on the 18th and for Dryden on the 19th. So I'll have that on the agenda to approve document, get it in advance, and it will be long.
Remind me what the Connect All is?
Connect All is is the state office that's administering this broadband grant we got.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's a state office that's administering the distribution of federal funds for our broadband project. So that's another one. I do not have it yet, but I would like to, I expect to be able to get it, but introduce Lisa Strassheim emailed today asking about where we're at with opting back in on the cannabis places of consumption. And I think from the last discussion, we were comfortable with opting back in on those. So I will put that forward, introduce it at the next meeting, then we can set a public hearing and vote on it in January.
Can I ask a question about that?
Yeah.
I saw the notice from the one business. How does that play in? There's like a cannabis business that's gonna set up in town.
Oh, you did? Oh, was that from Lisa?
Yeah, I think.
Well, this would, I mean, this will allow.
Are they waiting on
Yeah.
us?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Okay.
I believe.
I remember that, and where would they want to set up? I mean, is it?
I think it's gonna be at her, I don't know, but I think it's at her home, at her property.
I don't know who she is.
Yeah, I don't know where.
Does it follow the zoning? Like, is she setting it up?
I think it's in the ag rural district. I'm speaking a little bit
Okay,
hastily, so I should,
all right.
follow up on it. I mean, she
I
can
can,
do that. That wouldn't
would
affect,
that come to all of us? I can look back and check that.
I forwarded it to all of you, so I asked you last time and people said, yeah, you got it, so you should have got it.
All right.
And I can send it again.
That-
But it doesn't have information about where she's located or
No.
Oh, it
what
doesn't.
kind of business it's going to be. It's not very clear.
Okay, so that's,
I mean, it's gonna be cannabis.
But that's all, it's in our zoning law.
okay,
So that's not really
Yeah.
a concern unless we're concerned about that the zoning law is problematic.
Yeah. okay.
I'm just concerned about if she's a business needs to operate, not holding them up too much,
Yeah,
because they need to start their business.
so, good, great. Totally agree. I would, suggest, and I will admit I haven't looked at them yet and need to, but, that we review and discuss the highway plans that I forwarded from Bella next time, and, yeah,
Could you ask Bobby if he could come to the meeting?
I need to ask him that, but he may be able to do it remotely, but I think he's gonna be traveling then. But we can have a conversation beforehand or whatever,
Yeah.
so I'll follow up with him for sure. Let's see, the other thing that I wanted to mention is, so I did this has come up a couple times, Brian Butner, has offered he did this in Lansing, so he contracted with the town to do the safety inspections. And so I asked Bob yesterday if he thought that was a good idea. He said he thought it would be a good idea. I don't know if you want to wait on that, but,
Safety where?
so there are building inspections that are required on a periodic basis for places of assembly like this, for apartment buildings with multiple units in it, things like that. And we have always lagged on that, and the state is making more requirements for reporting on that, so.
So like, this is like includes like fire? Or is it other
Yeah,
kind?
I think it does look at
Okay.
fire safety.
Yeah, okay. I mean, that's important because things, fire alarms and things go bad over time, and if you're not in larger buildings, if you're not keeping
Yeah.
them up to date,
Right.
that's a danger. That's a safety issue.
I'm sure it looks at things like egress,
Right.
you know, other
Yeah.
safety features.
Right, right. So I
If
don't,
someone boarded up a window in a basement that shouldn't be.
Right.
yeah, so I
Things
don't know
like
if they
that.
look at mechanical issues with like alarm systems or not, but they might. But I think they would like the lighting for the exit sign. I seem to recall that conversation with the previous code officer, so. Anyway, I just was wondering if it's, if we want to go ahead and,
So did we budget for that?
well, not specifically. Yeah, I guess we want to think
I
about
mean, my
how,
recollection is that the way that Bob's appointment is structured, that our budgeting for
It's
that
pretty
office
tight.
takes care of that.
Hmm.
But it's not clear to me that we have the latitude
Mhm,
to add on to it unless we can do it out of different lines,
mhm,
other budget lines.
right.
And also depending on what the cost would be.
Well,
So what would the cost be?
My suggestion for the process would be to solicit a contract proposal for the work. That it would be contractual, not.
Right.
As an employee.
So that would be something we could vote on once we see it.
Yeah,
And it's probably not 100 safety inspections, it's probably less than 100, so.
I haven't seen the list, but I think it's more extensive than you might think.
It wouldn't all have to be done the same year though, for example.
Right, they have to get on schedule, so, and when I talked to Brian about it, his goal would be to have them done by next fall. Which. That would be novel. That
Well,
would
I
be-
think soliciting contract proposals.
Sure.
Okay, that was my question.
Yep.
Okay, then I will ask for that. Great, thank you. Great. Is there anything else that people have on their minds for the next meeting or tonight?
something came up, but just remembering,
Okay.
did you do the county, emergency management meeting since our last meeting, or is that coming up?
No, so I did, but I didn't. So it was on the Friday where the power went out. So
I think you did mention that, right?
So,
Yeah, and so I brought it up at the beginning of the meeting and I haven't had a chance to follow up with Mike. But we will be meeting, when is Beth's meeting? Is the
I
ninth?
think it's, Monday, right?
That makes
It's
sense.
Monday in a few days.
Yeah,
What time is it?
thought it was at 11
Okay.
or 11:30.
I'd go to that too.
Yeah,
What's
I'm
that?
thinking I might go to it.
You want to come?
I might go.
Yeah, I mean, I have it here 11:30, but it doesn't,
No, you're probably right. I just-
I'll check my email again.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'll follow up with either Mike or Joe. By the end of this week, so I have the information on that for the meeting, and I'll contact Beth that you recommended. That's good.
yeah, great.
Yeah, I'd like to, I thought I was gonna be out of town, but I'm not, so I could go to that too.
Who's affected by that last power outage? For a day,
Day and a half,
What was
Oh.
affected?
our electricity,
yeah. I was out for whole day and then till 4 o'clock the next day.
so if we had more this year than we ever.
Every time
had.
the wind blows now, I think my power's gonna go out.
I know,
I almost bought a battery backup
I'm thinking about it.
the other day, but we have other expenses.
when the last windstorm knocked a poplar down on the cab of the truck, and it knocked some cherries down on my solar panel, so.
Oh, wow.
I had
Wow.
intended, I didn't get free, but I wanted to go home this afternoon and, because the winds that are coming tonight,
Yeah,
I was gonna fell a bunch of trees. but-
Since I
Um,
moved to Speedsville, we've lost power. This last time was the 10th time for more than 12 hours since July 4th weekend.
Wow.
You said 12?
12 is good.
10 times
10 times.
for more than 12 hours at each time.
That's
Uh,
ridiculous.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a scary statistic.
yeah. So kind of with that, once again, with keep bringing up the disaster plan for this. So it's basically done,
Mhm.
except we just need to have those
It's not-
plans.
Yeah,
And we could just get them, just printed, right? And then, so we could make a decision about when we want to just print this thing off, and get it.
and have it memorialized or whatever.
The other thing is that we did talk before, and I just want to make sure this is what you want to do. Signing an agreement at no cost with a freeze drying company. Polygon.
Oh, I thought that we agreed that would be a
You
good idea.
agreed, so I have the forms, but I'm wondering if maybe you and possibly Jesse could fill them out. And I could forward them to you. It's for each one.
Fine,
It's okay.
What do we have to fill out a lot of stuff?
No, it's,
Okay.
it's just how many floors and.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, boy, I can't wait.
It's just, I mean, I could fill it out, but I have to ask you
Yeah,
or somebody
no,
else.
yeah. If you can email them or drop them by.
I will
Yeah.
I will email them to you, and then, once we do, the safety inspection kind of remind me, once you do sign this, they offer to come and check out
To evaluate it.
yeah,
Really?
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, well, we should do it right away, so. yeah,
All right,
send
I
it
will,
over, we'll do
I will
that.
continue this, I will send it, and then maybe by the beginning of the year, we can just print this off and everybody will have a copy of it.
And then what is that company called?
Polygon.
Oh my God.
One thing that I was thinking about would be helpful to have is just an internal phone number chain. Like I realized I don't have Jesse's phone,
Well,
phone number.
yeah, all those,
I have the, well, I guess I do because I have it her text, but I don't have Bobby's, I just thought it might be interesting. Very
yeah,
helpful just for us to have an internal contact list.
so all those numbers are on in this,
Or they,
in this plan, yeah.
but if we just,
So if we each had a copy of it, then we could have it.
Are they the cell numbers? The personal
Stella
cell?
and Jesse
Okay.
filled in a lot of phone numbers
Good.
also.
Good,
okay,
yeah.
Yeah, so Jesse did a great job filling in stuff I didn't have. The only persons I don't have is Bob Rios.
Oh, well, he just got here, so we,
Yeah.
he'll be in tomorrow.
So, I mean, I can send this out again to everybody and you can look it over and see if if it's what you'd be talking about.
Yeah, I was just thinking of,
Yeah.
card with everybody's phone numbers
Yeah.
on it. Yeah,
Well, they can extrapolate
but we
and
can,
make them from
that's
that.
fine.
So,
Sounds good. Anything else? Great, okay.
Who's, doing the bills next week?
I think it's up.
2 weeks.
Weeks, yeah.
I've got it on my calendar, I'm waiting for the
This time I
notification.
do now also.
So, yeah,
So it's Michelle and Jonathan.
yes,
Okay.
so we're ready. We're ready.
Got your pencils sharpened.
That's right.
That's great. Okay. Super. Anything else? Okay. With that, I will offer a motion to adjourn.
Second,
Seconded by Tim. All in favor?
aye.
Aye.